It's February, and this is the Library Roadshow. On the show today, music, mayhem, and more. Welcome to the February edition of the Library Roadshow. I'm Mary Stein, and this is a production of your East Baton Rouge Parish Library System. First of all, I'm happy to report that 2024 was a pretty good year for the library. You visited your public libraries over 1,750,000 times last year, and you checked out well over 2.8 million things. If we added up how much you saved by using your library card to check out books and AV from the library, it's easily over $26 million. And your ebook downloads? That's another $18.6 million saved. And I'm not even starting to count the value of reference information, database resources, computer and Wi-Fi use, meeting room and work study room uses, and of course, free public programs. February is brought to you by the letter B and the number 2 in our freshly produced Press Start booklets. And if you haven't signed up your young children ages 2 to 4 for this free program, it's never too late. The children's services staff in every library can get you started with the letter A, and your child can keep progressing from there. You'll be kindergarten ready for sure. The children's room has lots of other offerings, everything from the kids orchestra, which will feature the award-winning book by Carol Boston Weatherford, Freedom in Congo Square, to storyteller Mama Sabah, to story times and other book-based programs. And everyone is invited to join us for Train Day. Teens will hear Dr. Nash Mahmood's take on the Professor Index in Saturday Science, as well as choose from a host of games, movies, DIY activities, and even some ACT math prep. The Career Center brings back The Artist's Way. Registration is required for this hands-on series, which lasts for 13 weeks and follows the classic book by Julia Cameron. Some other seriously useful programs for adults include Super Tax Day, Money Moves Baton Rouge, and Get Organized. We'll host the Lifeline Poetry Project Workshop with Louisiana Poet Laureate Allison Pellegrin, and we'll welcome Giselle Harrelson for the Authors Extravaganza from Pen to Publish. We're hosting a special screening with Dorothy Kendrick, LPB producer of the documentary How We Got Over, Rising Through Perseverance, as well as the premiere of Independent Lens production Bike Vessel. We'll make some music with the St. Albans Ukulele Concert, and then Sean Gaskell's musical performance on the kora, a 12-stringed West African harp. We'll hear from Bob Mann, author of You Are My Sunshine, Jimmy Davis, and the Biography of a Song. We pull out the stops on Valentine's Day with a Galentine's edition of Movies on the Plaza, featuring a special after-hours screening of Now and Then, and other friendly activities for adults. So much to see and do. Details with dates, times, and registration information can be found in the Source newsletter, in print and online, or in the library's online newsletter on the Events tab in the newly designed library website, ebrpl.com.
Free access to books, audio, and library resources are just a few of the benefits available to you when you get a library card. Need free access to a computer? You get that. Want free access to premium digital resources like Mango Languages and lynda.com? You get that. Need to book a meeting space? You get that. Heck, you can even check out a telescope or use a digital printer with your library card. If you live in East Baton Rouge Parish, pick up your free library card from your local branch library today. Premium access to everything the library system has to offer is waiting for you.
The new year often brings us the opportunity for thoughtful consideration of where we stand in life and in our careers. It's not like the old days where you got a job fresh out of school and then stayed with that company until retirement. So when I heard about our new Career Guidance Center from Ferguson, I was thrilled to learn that it wasn't just for young adults. It's time to find out more in the digital download.
Ferguson's Career Guidance Centre is an award-winning resource for lifelong career exploration and planning. It offers a wealth of tools for users to assess their career goals and interests, plan their education and learn workplace skills. You can also find apprenticeships and internships, conduct a job search and more. It has an easy-to-use interface and works great on a computer or mobile device. It offers a seamless multimedia experience, including video interviews on more than 150 industries and more than 1,200 professions. With current information on earnings, the fastest growing, highest paying, most in-demand jobs are highlighted, including information on emerging professions, such as artificial intelligence specialists and blockchain developers. You'll find unparalleled up-to-date information, proprietary directories of apprenticeships and internships, and financial aid and school search databases. For students choosing a career path, graduates entering the workforce, or professionals changing careers, Ferguson's Career Guidance Centre supports users at every step of their career journey. You'll find this resource in the digital library at ebrpl.com, and check out our Career Centre at careercenterbr.com.
The folks in the Career Center are on duty Monday through Saturday to assist job seekers with resumes, letters of inquiry, and career exploration. Plus, they offer workshops in person and video how-tos on demand, archived on their YouTube channel. Last year, local job seekers watched thousands of hours. Let's shift gears now and go beyond the stacks.
Never heard of Biden, never heard of Bush. I don't know who these people are.
Jimmy Carter.
Hello there, Abraham Lincoln, 16th President of the United States of America, here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at the main library on Goodwood. Thank you very much. I was just looking, I believe this is my 4th program here. Well, I'm just me. I go over to libraries, I go to senior residences, schools, churches, museums, parties, you name it. I go everywhere, and I'm just Abraham Lincoln, sharing about our nation's history during my time. Very important time in our nation's history. You do know that I passed by here.
Did you?
1828.
Oh my goodness.
On a flatboat down the, which way is the Mississippi from here? Down the Mississippi River. And this program's a rather unique one. I call it Lincoln on Literature and the Theater. And I talk about how those influenced me during my life. Literature, I loved reading and loved books, and of course the theater. You probably heard I went to the theater a few times when I was president, actually 50 times. Maybe that was just one too many. Yes, I believe that it's very important for the people of our country to understand their history. You cannot understand where we are today if you don't understand our history and how we got to where we are today. So that's why I believe teaching of history is important, and not only in the schools, but also for regular people, if you might say, adults, to always be studying our history, remembering our history, both the good and the not so good. As a boy, we didn't have libraries on the frontier. Only had one book at home when I was born, of course with the Bible. Later I go to neighbors' houses and borrow books. But it was only when I was an adult was able to access libraries, which generally were private libraries. But when I was president, I could go to the Library of Congress. I could check out books on military strategy, books on the American West, things I needed to know about as president. I could also check out books for pleasure. For example, I checked out The Song of Hiawatha by Longfellow. I imagine I read that to my boys. So libraries are wonderful places.
Honest Abe is a regular here at the library. We always look forward to his annual tour. His presentations really do bring history alive for our library patrons of all ages. Stay right there. After the break, Brandon Riley joins me for a chat right here on the Library Roadshow.
The East Baton Rouge Parish Library believes that preparing children to enter kindergarten is good for us all. That's why we created Press Start, an early learning initiative that provides a free activity booklet every month that explores early literacy skills through play and interaction at home. Get a library card. Sign up for Press Start at ebrpl.com/kids.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school. My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She wants to have a career so her kids can look up to her.
They both keep me motivated to go to school, and they see that if I do it, like, they can do it too, you know? I feel that everything's possible.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
You're watching the February edition of the Library Roadshow, everything you need to know about your local library system. As coordinator for adult and community programming and a whole lot of other things, Brandon Riley has been working behind the scenes for the past few months to get all of our ducks in a row for some major series and programs at the library. And now it's time for the library's annual Mid-City Microcon. Okay, Brandon, what's on the agenda for this year's event?
Well, we have so many things going on. We have Alex Jennings, who is the author of The Ballad of Perilous Graves. He's a local author. He's going to be our keynote speaker. He's also going to be emceeing our cosplay show and tell.
There must be cosplay.
There will be cosplay.
That's right.
And so people are signing up to come in and talk about their work on their costumes and their process and show off. And everybody gets a thumbs up trophy. We're really excited about it.
Everyone's a winner here at the library.
Absolutely.
So with cosplay, family-friendly costumes.
Family-friendly.
And it could be a 2-year-old in a costume or a 92-year-old in a costume. We have no way of knowing.
From 1 to 99.
I like
Everybody's
that.
welcome.
Okay, so, and do we actually call this Microcon a Comic Con?
Well, that is a big part of it, but there are a whole lot of different aspects of comics and cosplay and anime and art involved. So it's a very inclusive environment that brings together a whole lot of different art forms and communities and voices, and we want to uplift all of those.
So it's intended for the whole family?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, and you don't have to be an artist to come and even go to the art workshop, do you?
No, and you know, we have food, we're going to have food trucks, there's a vendor that's coming and does a cosplay twist on coffee service.
I love the idea of this. All right. Well, how do folks find out more? Because it's on the cover of the newsletter, but also I know you've got a lot of other things out there.
Well, you can go to our website at www.ebrpl.com/MCMC2025.
Right.
You know.
McMick is what we're calling it. MC 2025.
And there's information there about people you can email if you have questions and things like that. We've closed, obviously, registration for vendors at this point, but we're happy to help people sign up as we plan for the next one in 2026.
That's right. You know, we're always planning ahead, and we've been doing this for quite some time now. And it's not just a DC comic and Marvel comic event. It really does reach out to our local artists, our local creatives.
They are the backbone of this Comic-Con. Yes.
So it's really, like you said, an inclusive event. Good for anybody, whether they want to consume graphic novels or create. As a matter of fact, we're debuting this year an artist. Her name is Pratima Pinapalli, and she's going to be doing a workshop on how to create a character and also how to create a zine. And she's also kicking off a series that we've hired her for this year called Break a Nib, where people can come and learn how to do sequential art. I love that. She's a published artist herself. She's wonderful, and we're happy to have her. So just like we have poetry workshops and short story writing workshops, here she comes with Break a Nib. And the sign-ups people are very interested. So people are hungry for this. All right. Well, thanks so much, Brendan. I want to see what your costume's going to be. All right, after the break, we'll keep things otherworldly with author Rosemary Altoff. Plus, we'll drop into a presentation with Barbara Sims on Louisiana music. All that and more coming up next on the Library Roadshow.
Free entertainment is good for us all. That's why we make ebooks and audiobooks available through the Libby app. Get a library card. Get free entertainment at ebrpl.com/digital library.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years and I got my third child who was 17 at the time. It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Welcome back to the February edition of the Library Roadshow. My next guest was born to a Shakespeare-quoting mom and a dad who led the electrical development of the Saturn V moon rocket. So one might not be too surprised that Rosemary Altoff would grow up to be a sci-fi author. Rosemary joins me now by phone to talk about her life and her book entitled The Hot Marble. Rosemary, how did you actually get your start as an author?
I entered the world of traditionally published authors when I went to a writers' conference. At the Blue Lake Conference, while I was hanging out in the bookstore, I made a new friend, Cynthia Hickey. She looked at my book, The Hot Marble, which I had self-published. Then she commented, "This is good, but the cover is awful." Later at the conference, I found out that Cynthia is owner of a small traditional publishing company, Winged Publications. I pitched my book to her in a short private meeting, and she accepted my entire Souls Warfare series.
What's The Hot Marble about?
Now, the book one, The Hot Marble, is a Christian sci-fi spiritual warfare beginning of a series called The Souls Warfare. The series follows the adventures of a brilliant young physicist, Lewis, who becomes an expert in teleportation and eventually time travel. An evil group called the Horned Edge wants him to work for them or else. He loves his family so much that he's willing to die for them or kill for them if his dark nature rules. In The Hot Marble, Lewis and brother and sister and best friend are teleported by the Horned Edge to a world called Lanthra, and they all face great dangers. Besides the fun of adventure, I highlight the beauty of nature, friendship, romance, and a great spiritual struggle.
What inspired you to write this book?
My own experiences as a troubled young atheist fueled the Hot Marble series. I loved nature, adventure, and science. My dad worked with space science. He was in charge of developing the electrical system of the Saturn V moon rocket. But at that time, my family lived near Huntsville, Alabama. In our home, however, lived a drug-addicted grandmother. The dysfunction of a drug addict system almost destroyed my family. It sent me into a dark spiritual place. Yet, one night, a Christian friend invited me to pray with her. God's hand took me across a deep abyss to a life of much inner healing. I want to show my readers that mental and spiritual healing is available to them, too.
What advice would you share with other aspiring authors?
Now, to aspiring authors, I'd like to give the main advice that Kentucky author and poet laureate Wendell Berry gave me in a small group writing class. Write your heart. Whether you journal, write nonfiction or fiction, including science fiction like me, put your life lessons into your work. The second advice I have is this: work through your fear. Don't stall because of your wounded ego, your fear somebody will steal your story, your inaccurate comparisons of your work with others. But third, do have a realistic expectation of yourself and your success in the writing world. If you dedicate your time, even small amounts of time, to writing something, you'll produce a body of work that you can market for yourself. And for promoting your work, be bold.
How can our viewers learn more about you?
Simply type my name into your favorite search engine, Rosemary Altoff, into Google, Yahoo, Safari, Mozilla. My name is Rosemary Altoff, and the last name means Old Barnyard in German. I'll spell it Althoff. You can find my website at rosemaryaltoff.com. You can order The Hot Marble at Amazon, Goodreads, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, and wherever books can be ordered. My goal is to entertain you while leading you to healing. Enjoy the hot marble. If you have a wounded soul, let its joy lead you to spiritual healing.
Thanks, Rosemary. I'm a sci-fi fan myself, and it's always good to find out that a new favorite book is part of a series. And now, coming down to earth, Baton Rouge is a wonderful place to call home. There are so many interesting people here with such amazing life stories. The Special Collections Department here at the East Baton Rouge Parish Library System showcase these local stories in their once-a-month lecture series. Their most recent lecture featured Barbara Sims on Louisiana music.
Music is a wonderful, powerful force. I don't know what we would do if we didn't have music. I've been listening to Louisiana music all my life. We always had the radio playing music when I was growing up, and then later, recordings. And when I was in high school, I was in a dance band and played piano in a little club. My breakthrough, I guess you might say, into the music business, though, was at Sun Record Company in Memphis. I was hired by the proprietor, Sam Phillips, who's a well-known character now. The first thing I did was write the liner notes for Carl Perkins' first album, which was Sun Records' very first album. I wrote Johnny Cash's first album liner notes. And then most of my time at Sun was spent promoting those major artists, Jerry Lee Lewis as well, until my husband died. And I had time on my hands and I was retired. I didn't make much of my Sun career. I just hardly ever talked about it. But I decided, well, I'll occupy myself by writing a book. So I wrote a book about my experiences with Sun, and it was called The Next Elvis, Searching for Stardom at Sun Records. And through that, I was able to be invited to give lectures. I just move around the state and feature people that are characteristic of that part of the country. So I've called it Louisiana Music North, South, East, and West. And I've tried to give something characteristic about each region and also feature a variety of genres. So I'm starting out with lead belly, folk music, and then Jimmy Davis, some country music. You Are My Sunshine, and he was a country singer, as our listeners know, I imagine. So then we talk about in Shreveport, in the, starting out in the north. So talk about the radio station there, KWKAH, that was so important, where Elvis and a lot of other rock and rollers got their start. I've had a varied life, and I'm grateful for it.
Barbara's a wealth of knowledge about regional music as well as the music industry. And of course, we have many copies of her book, but it's always fun to hear her in person, especially when she takes questions from the audience about working alongside Elvis at Sun Records. Don't forget, Bob Mann will be sharing his take on You Are My Sunshine this month too. Stay right there. You're watching the Library Roadshow.
The East Baton Rouge Parish Library believes that making things is good for us all. That's why we have makerspaces at 4 locations and a 3D printing service at the main library. The makerspaces have a variety of tools and equipment to enable both creative and practical projects. This includes 3D printers, sewing machines, audio-visual gear, and much more. Get a library card. Get free access to makerspaces at ebrpl.com/makerspaces. Free entertainment is good for us all. That's why we make ebooks and audiobooks available through the Libby app. Get a library card. Get free entertainment at ebrpl.com/digital library.
You're watching the February edition of the Library Roadshow, a production of your East Baton Rouge Parish Library System. Just in time for the Mid-City Microcon, let's check in on our new series for local comic and zine creatives.
I think the person who's making it being interested in it is what makes the best stories. If you care about it, other people are going to care about it. So you have to know that you care about this thing enough to to write it and to draw it and to copy it and to make books out of it and to give them to people. That's a lot of work. And so if you care about something enough that you're willing to put in all that effort, I think that is the start of a really great story. My name's Fatima. I'm from Baton Rouge and I make comics. Tonight we're talking about 4-panel comics and story structure, and we're just doing some activities where people can make an anthology together, talk to each other while they're making stuff. I think the biggest point of these workshops is I want people to be able to talk to each other and meet each other.
And good to make stuff and keep it to yourself.
Bookmaking and making in general is something that has a pretty high starter value. You need a lot of money to make things, and so having spaces where people don't have to put in as much capital to start is a really great way to let people actually enjoy the things they're interested in without having to worry about it. And it's so important that we provide spaces like that for people. I think Baton Rouge especially is a place that's kind of small but still has a lot of people in it. It can be a little hard to find your community, especially as an adult, when you don't have to go to school every day and you're not with the same people all the time. And so having spaces where you can meet people who are also interested in the things you're interested in is really important. I went to school in Chicago for comics and printmaking, and I'm back home, and I just want to make stuff, and I want to meet other people who want to make stuff. At the beginning, I'm just going to talk to people a little bit about what zines are, what the history of them is, and then we're going to do a group activity, a warm-up exercise. I'm planning to have a warm-up in all of these, and then the last hour will be self-work time, and then creating comics together, 1-page comics, and then we're going to put them all together in an anthology, so hopefully people can take a book home with them. I think the first thing you do is just write down the first thing that comes in your head. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad or whatever. It just put it on paper somewhere, even if it's a Google Doc or something. Get your ideas out of your head, because the only way they're going to get out of your head is if you start doing it.
What a great resource for local artists and writers. It's really helpful to get feedback along the way from others who share your affinity for comics and zines. And now for today's contest, visit the library's Facebook page at facebook.com/EBRPL. How about leaning into the Mid-City Microcon vibe and sharing your cosplay creations or comic doodles with us? That's facebook.com/EBRPL. And while you're there, enjoy. We're not your grandfather's library anymore. What's coming up on the Library Roadshow in March? One Book, One Community kicks off with a Friday Night Lights tailgate party on March 14th to celebrate the book Season of Life by Jeffrey Marks. Thanks so much for joining us on the Library Roadshow, and remember, your East Baton Rouge Parish Library is open 7 days a week at each and every one of 14, soon to be 15 branches, plus 24/7 on the web. Check us out at ebrpl.com.
A thriving business community is good for us all. That's why we help entrepreneurs start businesses with Gale Business Builder. Get a library card, grow your business at ebrpl.com/business.